I want to teach you how to train yourself to dream big. It's actually a skill. And dreaming big is something that we used to do as kids, right? It was so easy as kids to sit in class because you were bored with, whatever it was that your teacher was doing, and you started to daydream. And as adults, we tend to lose that ability. So the Dream Book is going to be your companion to this program. And here's my philosophy about training yourself to dream big again as an adult. In the Dream Book, one of the things that you're going to be doing as a daily practice is you're going to do something that I do in my book. And that is every time I crack this open, because I keep my notes in here, is I write down the 5 things that I dream about. So I've written down, okay, I'm super embarrassed that I've written this down. So I'm going to tell you what my 5 are. And you can see, you probably can't see how red I'm turning because I have so much makeup on because I was in television today. And in television, they put a lot of makeup on you. In digital, I normally look like shit. But this is why we all need to learn to dream big and to dream authentically, because when you talk about it, you immediately shrink because we're trained not to have these aspirations. So the first thing that I wrote down is I want to be the #1 talk show in the United States. You know what's so fascinating is I used to dream of just actually being where I am. And now that I've achieved that, I have a dream that's even bigger. And what does it mean and why is this dream important to me? And this is part of what you're going to learn in the workbook, but I'll tell you why this dream is important to me. Because if we are #1, it means that the work that we're doing that I care so deeply about, which is helping people heal their minds and heal their relationships and to live a more positive, happy, mentally well life, that we're reaching more people. That's what that means. And that's why I want it. I wrote down #1 New York Times bestseller. I have for years said I don't give a shit about it, but I actually do, I guess. And I think it's because it would be really nice to have the powers that be actually acknowledge the impact that we're making. Do I need it to keep going forward? No, of course not. And I will keep going forward. I want to make the Time 100 list for mental health and for the work that we're doing. And the reason why is because as much as I like being an entrepreneur that does things in a very innovative way, that kind of public recognition brings with it resources and partners that would allow you to make an even bigger impact. And so when I think about that kind of recognition, it challenges me to dream so much bigger than I'm dreaming right now about the impact that I want to make in mental health. The 4th one, this is not my dream right now, but I wrote this down 3 days ago, and that is to be the happiest I've ever been living in Vermont. The reason why I wrote that down at the time is because my son is going to go to high school in Vermont, and we are grappling with a move. And I had a mental breakdown when we started looking at houses there, thinking I couldn't live here. One of the interesting things about dreaming is your dreams will change. I love the daily practice of writing in your dream book the 5 things you're dreaming about, because you'll notice that there are things that show up consistently for you, and that's a sign that it's important to pay attention to it. It's important to walk toward it. And by writing, I dreamed that I'd be the happiest I'd ever be in Vermont, I was doing the work of trying to shift my attitude about how I was feeling about a move when I'm not that excited about it right now. The 5th one is I want to build a summer house. I grew up on Lake Michigan. I've spent the last 30 years not on the water. I dream to be successful enough that someday, in the next decade, I will have the money to buy a fantastic piece of property on the ocean, and I will build an awesome house that is a gathering place for our family. And hopefully, that will not include grandchildren in the next decade. In the dream book, you're every single day going to write the 5 things down that you're dreaming about. And it's okay that they change, because over the course of this month, I just want to teach you how to give yourself permission to dream. And I think it's also important that you saw how embarrassed I got when I had to read the things that I wrote down to you, because I immediately felt, oh God, are you going to judge me? Oh gosh, am I being a hypocrite? Oh God, what if I don't achieve these things? Who am I to say these? How am I going to do this? All that stuff rushed up for me, and I'm the one teaching you how to do this. And it's important for you to see that, because all those feelings are normal that are going to come up, but they're what's currently stopping you from doing the work to live the next best decade of your life and to pursue the things that you dream about. It starts with training yourself to give yourself permission to dream.
How do you balance your dreams with your real life? Sickness, trauma, grief, a sick parent. I'm at that stage right now and it feels really hard to dream.
Oh God, how do you balance your dreams with the realities of life? You may be dealing with an illness, sickness, a sick parent. I got to come back to that Trevor Noah passage. Let me read this to you. I think I have it right here. Let me see if I can pull up today's newsletter.
If you don't, I can airdrop it to you. I have it.
God bless you. Yeah, go ahead and airdrop it to me. I think I have it right here, but let me see. New decade, new letter. Oh, okay. Oh, it just went out. Okay. Here we go. So I read a bunch of books over the course of the holiday. It's my goal to read a book a week, and it's been really amazing. And one of the books that I read was Trevor Noah's jaw-dropping memoir, Born a Crime, and it's all about him growing up as a biracial kid, which was actually a crime to be biracial, because it was a crime for people of different races to have sex and to have children. And he grew up during apartheid. And there was this passage that really struck me, and I talk about it in today's newsletter that just went out. Not for this program, but if you want to be on our newsletter list, go to melrobbins.com, and right on the homepage, there's a sign up for the newsletter. Here's what he writes. We tell people to follow their dreams, but you can only dream of what you can imagine. And depending upon where you come from, your imagination can be quite limited. Growing up in Soweto, our dream was to put another room on our house, maybe have a driveway, maybe someday a cast iron gate at the end of the driveway, because that is all we knew. But the highest rung of what's possible is far beyond the world you can see. And then he writes about how my mother showed me what was possible. The thing that always amazed me about her life was that no one showed her. She did it on her own. And what she showed Trevor was possible is she raised him to see a world outside of the ghetto in Soweto way before apartheid had ended. She was raising him for a world in which apartheid was over, before they could even wrap their minds around the possibility that it could happen. And so whatever it is that you're dealing with in your life right now, it can put blinders on you, because you have to deal with your aging parent. You have to deal with the illness that's in front of you. But it is so critical that you still dream. Why? Because dreams transport you from the day to day. Dreams give you a beacon to look up, because dreams will remind you that the situation that you're facing right now is temporary. Dreams will remind you that even if the situation isn't temporary, let's say that you've got some horrendous degenerative disease, and so it's going to get worse, not better. Dreams still give you a purpose to live a bigger life despite what you're dealing with. Now, you may not have the bandwidth to pursue your dreams because of how sick your parents are. That's okay. It won't always be like this. But it is critical that as a form of self-love, as a form of self-care, that you still build the skill of holding space for your dreams and writing those dreams down every day and thinking about those dreams and reading about those dreams, because they will help you move through the chapter of the life that you're in more powerfully, more grounded, and more fulfilled. Hey, I'm Mel Robbins, and I wanted to make this video because, boy, has the interest in manifesting just skyrocketed. Do you know that there has been a 700% increase in Google searches for manifestation and manifesting techniques just this year alone? So if you're brand new to manifesting, you are in the right place, because I'm going to unpack the basics for you. I'm going to help you understand this. And more importantly, I'm going to empower you to put this to use in your life to help you get what you want. And if you've been trying to manifest for a while now and it's not working, this is also an exceptionally awesome video for you to watch, because it's probably going to reveal some of the mistakes you've been making. And so let's just jump into it. So here's what we're going to cover in this video. First of all, I'm going to give you a definition for manifesting that's going to clear a lot of stuff up. Next, I'm going to talk about what it is for real based on science and what it can help you do, and what it isn't. How manifesting is very different than dreaming, hoping, wishing, and wanting, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why this is a skill that you need. I'm going to tell you a story about how some of the top performing athletes in the world at the highest level, Olympic levels, are using the science of manifestation to get what they want when it comes to performing at their top level. I'm also going to tell you a deeply personal story about how my husband and I used manifesting over 20 years ago to help us get this incredible dream house, this farmhouse that we always wanted outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And by the time that we are done with this, you're going to feel so excited, so empowered, because you're going to know what manifesting is. You're going to understand why you need it. And you are also going to be equipped to get started using it. All right. So let's start with the definition of manifesting. What the heck is manifesting, Mel Robbins? Well, let me tell you what manifesting isn't, okay? Manifesting is not thinking thoughts and then hoping that they come true. Thoughts become things only when your thoughts inspire you to take the actions to get those things. That's where manifesting comes in. Manifesting is preparing your mind, body, and spirit to help you take the actions to get those things. That's right. I'm going to say that again. Manifesting is like training for getting what you want. Manifesting is socializing your mind, preparing your mind, rehearsing your mind to help you take the steps before you take the steps so that you can get what you want. When you use manifesting properly, what you do is you remove the obstacles of self-doubt, of resistance, of being cautious, of focusing on tiny minutia, of feeling blank and overwhelmed. You remove all that crap and you retrain your mind and you retrain your nervous system and you retrain your spirit to help you get the things that you want in life. And when you manifest properly, what it does is it inspires you to take the actions that lead you to what you want. Now that sounds like a lot of okay, Mel, what does that actually mean? What it means is this. Manifesting is going to help you see, feel, and act your way toward the things that you want. That's what it does. It's so freaking cool. Now let me tell you the difference between manifesting according to science and wishing, wanting, hoping, dreaming. Let's focus on sort of wishing. There's a lot of you that are confusing wishing for something with manifesting, okay? They're the opposite ends of the spectrum. And so before I kind of explain the two, let me just give you an example so that we can use the example to compare and to contrast, okay? One big goal and dream that a lot of people have is financial freedom. The ability to take your kids to Disney World, the ability to buy what you want, the ability to put enough money away so that you don't have to worry about money, the ability to buy the things that you need, to go on the trips that you want. Financial freedom is something that you deserve in your life. It's something that you can do the work to achieve in your life. And so let's talk about the goal of financial freedom and the difference between wishing for financial freedom and hoping and dreaming about it versus manifesting and doing the work to go get it. If you can hear my cat outside, you know that he sounds like he's dying. What he's actually doing is he's really pissed off because we have come into this little room and shut the door, and so he's walking around going, "Where are you? Where is everybody?" Let's take a listen for a minute. So, did you notice that wishing he would leave didn't work? What you're going to always get when you watch Mel Robbins videos is you're going to get the real deal, okay? But literally the real deal, because this is real life. And these are tools for real people to make real changes. And so you might as well see what's going on. So the cat is now sleeping on my lap, and he's very happy. We were talking about financial freedom, which is a goal that so many people have, right? And what's the difference between you wanting and wishing for financial freedom and you manifesting it? And using manifestation and the science of it to help you get it. The big difference between wishing for something and using manifesting to help you do the work to go get it is that when you wish that you were financially free, have you ever noticed that the second that you wish for something, like, I wish I would win the lottery, you're also present at the same time to the fact that you're lacking money right now. Like wishing that you would win the lottery, it doesn't bring up all of this sort of like empowering feelings. What it does is it reminds you that you're so broke that you need to win the lottery. And that's very different than manifesting. Manifesting is declaring what you want. I am committed to creating financial freedom in my life. And then, once you declare what you want, manifesting is about the actions and empowering yourself to go get it. And there's a really big difference between focusing on, and wishing for something, which only reminds you that you're lacking it. I wish I would meet somebody. That just makes you feel more alone. I wish I could get in shape. That just makes you feel more out of shape. I wish I could win the lottery. That just makes you feel poorer. I wish I didn't have to work for this jerk. That just makes you feel more stuck. Do you feel how wishing for something amplifies what you don't like? Versus, I'm going to manifest and work for more money in my life. I am committed to being in a loving relationship, and I'm going to manifest and make it happen. I deserve to have a career that I love, and I'm going to use manifesting to help me get it. I want to be in incredible shape. I want to do a handstand in yoga. I want to heal my trauma, and I'm going to use manifesting to help me achieve those things. That's a big difference. Wishing and hoping makes you present to what you don't have. Manifesting makes you present and feeling empowered about what you want and your ability to go get it. And that highlights the second big difference. When you hope for things, when you wish for things, you are handing the power to somebody else or to outside forces. You are literally giving away your power because hoping and wishing just inherently assumes that somebody else is somehow going to come in and solve the problem. We all know that that's not happening. Manifesting, on the other hand, locates and amplifies the power inside of you to do the work to get those things, to do the work to change your life. And it's important that you locate the power inside of you because you're the one that's responsible for your dreams, and you're also the person that's in the best position to make those dreams a reality. Because you have the ability to change the way that you think. You have the ability to change the actions that you take every single day. And when you change the actions that you take and you change the way that you think, you change your entire life. And manifesting is a tool that will help you train your brain and train your nervous system and train your mind, body, and spirit to help you achieve the things that you want. The thing that's super important for you to get as a major takeaway from this video is the thoughts alone won't achieve the things that you desire. But if you manifest properly, it will inspire you to take action. And action is what will create the results that you deserve and that you want in your life. That's as simply as I can put it. I want to explain a little bit about the science. I promised you that I was going to quickly tell you a little bit about how some of the world's most successful athletes are using the science of manifestation in order to win at the Olympics, in order to come back after an injury. You know, the U.S. Olympic team, there was a big article in the New York Times about this. They hire sports psychologists precisely for mental training. And what these sports psychologists are doing, there are 5 of them alone that work with the U.S. snowboarding and ski team. And what they do is they are doing the mental training with athletes before the Olympics to help them prepare to show up at the Olympics and absolutely crush it. And you're going to do the same thing. You are going to use manifestation to mentally prepare before and while you're doing the work to achieve your goals and dreams. Because when you mentally prepare, you remove all of the obstacles like self-doubt and nerves and anxiety and imposter syndrome and fear that are currently stopping you from taking action. And so how do you mentally prepare? Well, let me talk to you about the ski team, because they do this super cool process that is basically what you do when you manifest. The sports psychologist would sit down with one of the gold medal winning skiers and snowboarders, particularly after injury, because if you think about it, somebody that's been injured during competition, even after they've had surgery and they've recovered, they're going to be nervous about competing again. And you may feel the same way about going for what you want. You may have faced a bunch of setbacks, you may have faced a bunch of disappointments, you may have faced a bunch of rejection, and so you're nervous about putting yourself out there. That's okay. Feeling nervous is normal, but you're not going to let it stop you. We're going to use manifestation to train your mind, body, and spirit to be able to do the work. We're going to rehearse what you need to do in your mind and your body and your spirit so that when it comes time to do it, you feel like you've actually already done it, which removes your nerves. It's so cool. So back to the U.S. Ski and snowboarding team, the sports psychologists would sit with the athletes and, let's just say, the crazy snowboarding thing where they go off a jump and they do 50 million like hoops and loops and tricks and whatever. That's like a 10-second jump in the air. And so what the sports psychologist does is they have the snowboarder or the skier describe in detail, not the jump, but point A, point B, point C, point D, point E, point F, all the way to Z. Okay, I'm getting off the chairlift and I've got my snowboard tucked under my right arm and I'm walking up to the place where everybody's getting ready. And I hear the crunch, crunch, crunch of the snow and I feel the breeze. Do you notice I've got my eyes closed? I've got my eyes closed because I have made manifesting a habit. I do it every single morning. And when I start to manifest, I do something that I used to do as a trial lawyer, and that is put someone at the scene. Really good trial lawyers are able to put a jury right at a scene, right where it happened, with such detail that you can smell the cup of coffee on the counter. You can hear the cars passing outside. You can see the bright orange sweater that somebody's wearing right in your mind. You have the ability, with your imagination, to put yourself right at the scene. And that's exactly what these sports psychologists are coaching Olympic athletes to do. As you're standing there and the wind is blowing and your hat is on and they're calling your name, now you're clipping in. Now you're feeling the excitement in your stomach. Now you're feeling yourself push off, and you feel the momentum kick in and the gravity pull down and the speed increasing, and you feel the lift off, and you literally mentally rehearse visually and in your body feeling it. And what you're doing is you are preparing your body to be able to do it. Here's a cool fact about your brain. Your brain can't distinguish between real experiences that you've lived and the detailed experiences that you have imagined and felt through manifesting. So we are using your vision We are using your ability to picture yourself there and feel yourself there as a way to prepare yourself to be there. And as you're seeing yourself doing all the work, I want you to feel this sense of pride and excitement in order to really imprint the step by step by step by step training in your mind, body, and spirit. All right, well, look, I'm no Olympic athlete, but I am a gold medalist when it comes to the science of manifestation. I used manifesting as a way to help me keep doing the work to find my dream house outside of Boston. This is the story of how I use manifesting to do the work to find a needle in a haystack, which was an antique farmhouse outside of Boston. So, 1997, my husband Chris and I are newlyweds. We moved from New York City to the Boston area. And we have moved from New York to the Boston area because we know that we want to start a family. We know we don't want to be in New York City. We know we want to buy a house and have a yard. And so we rent an apartment in Cambridge, which is, right next door to Boston. And for almost a year, we start looking for a house. Now, we were a really young newlywed couple. We did not have a lot of savings. And Boston, it's a really expensive real estate market. And so we looked at houses every single weekend for an entire year. And we either would go to these open houses and we just hated the neighborhood, or we couldn't afford the house, and we were just feeling so discouraged. And it was about this time that I discovered the science of manifesting. And I luckily didn't just learn thoughts become things. I learned the see it, feel it, and you'll believe it form of manifesting that you're learning right now. And here's what I would do. I would, every single day, I knew what I wanted more than anything. I wanted to find an antique farmhouse with a big front porch. I wanted it to be in our budget. I wanted to have some land. I wanted to get a fixer-upper. I just had this this old house kind of vision in my mind, right? And I would sit there and I would think about Chris and I going to open houses. And I would think about Chris and I seeing house after house. And I would think about Chris getting really discouraged. And I would feel the pressure of going to all these open houses and us not finding anything. And I could feel Chris getting discouraged, and I could feel myself starting to get discouraged. And then I would feel and see myself turning to Chris and saying, Chris, you watch. We are really good people, and we have the kind of luck that something magical is going to happen. We are going to find that needle in the haystack. I just know it. If we just keep going to open houses, if we just keep putting it out there that we're looking for an old farmhouse, a fixer-upper with a big porch on a nice piece of property, we will find it. What this kind of manifesting does, where you see yourself pushing through the resignation, you feel yourself believing, you feel yourself doing the work to find that needle in the haystack, to beat the odds, to have something magical happens, is that you start to believe that it's going to happen. Through manifesting, I literally convinced myself that we would, in fact, find a needle in a haystack, that I didn't even need to worry about all the houses that we couldn't afford that we were seeing. I didn't even need to worry about the number of places that we would look at that were out of our range. I didn't even have to worry about how long it was going to take, because I knew, because I was aligning myself with what I wanted through proper manifestation, that it would happen. I wasn't worried about the timeline. I just assumed that if we kept at it and we kept holding on for that needle in the haystack, amazing old farmhouse, that one day, somehow, magically, the stars would align, we would be in the right place, and we would be rewarded because we had done the work and we had held out hope and we had kept on going. And why do we do those things? Because I had been training myself, preparing myself to do all those things. And I'll tell you what happened. About a year into looking, in one of the nicest towns outside of Boston, Massachusetts, we got word that there was a ransack old farmhouse that may be coming on the market. So we drove out that weekend and we pulled up in front of the house. And I got to tell you, the grass at this house in the front yard was like waist high. Nobody had mowed this lawn in I don't know how many years. It looked like a field, for crying out loud, instead of a front lawn. The paint was all chipped. The house was this like ugly blue color. Most of the windows were broken. The only living beings inside the house were the family of raccoons who had taken up residence inside the chimney. The kitchen was so hideous, there was AstroTurf, indoor-outdoor grass, as the flooring in this house. Now, if I hadn't been manifesting, if I hadn't been training my mind, body, and spirit to see, feel, and believe that my husband and I would find this needle in a haystack, I would have turned to Chris the second we pulled up in front of this thing and said, "Are you kidding me? This dump? First of all, we won't be able to afford it. Secondly, this dump? What? Have we lost? It's not even on the market. Some developer is going to swoop in here in this neighborhood and pay 3 times what we can afford. There is no way we are going to get this." That's what would have happened if I hadn't been manifesting. Because the biggest obstacle to what you want is always your own self-doubt, your own excuses, your own fears, and your own stories. Because I had been manifesting what it looked like and felt like to align my body and spirit with getting what I want, I stayed open that this could be that needle in the haystack. We got out of the car. We met with the owner. It turns out the house wasn't on the market yet. The family was figuring out what to do because the man who had owned it had just died incapacitated in a nursing home. None of the adult kids wanted the house. And what did they want for the house more than anything? This dilapidated old farmhouse that they had all grown up in? They wanted a young couple who was starting a family to raise their family in it. Well, the long and the short of it is that ugly old farmhouse with the broken windows and the raccoons inside and the indoor-outdoor grass turf for carpeting in the kitchen was that needle in the haystack. Chris and I bought it from the family before it ever came on the market. And we spent the first 2 years, honest to God, indoor camping inside of it. We didn't even have a kitchen. We had a Coleman 2-burner camping stove. We did most of the renovations ourselves, which meant bringing the knob and tube wiring up to code, slapping on a paint a coat, and bringing everything up to a point where it would be safe. And we have lived in this farmhouse and raised our family in it for the past 24 years. There is no way that I would have even gotten out of the car without having been manifesting for 8 months prior to finding that farmhouse with the big wrap porch on a great piece of property right outside of Boston. It was seeing it, feeling it in my mind, body, and spirit that made my mind believe that it was possible. And when you believe that something is possible, you will do the work and you will stay open to all of the amazing possibilities that come into your life to make it happen. And here we are almost 25 years later, sitting here filming in that very house. So there you have it. I promised you that this would be a video that would be perfect if you were brand new to manifesting, or if you've been manifesting for a while but it hasn't been working. I hope that now that you know the real definition and the real purpose of manifesting, when you manifest using science and you manifest as a way to train and prepare your mind, body, and spirit to do the work to help you get what you want. I hope you now feel empowered and inspired to stop wishing and hoping for the things that you want in life, and that you use manifesting to prepare yourself and inspire yourself to go take the action to make them a reality. I'm about to explain to you the 7 most common mistakes that people make when they first start manifesting. Or hell, they make these mistakes when they've been manifesting for years, and these 7 mistakes explain why the manifesting's not working. So you're gonna save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of time by knowing these mistakes and avoiding them like the plague. Before I tell you the 7 mistakes, let me just remind you of what manifesting is. If you're brand new to manifesting and you have not seen the video that I did that is basically what the hell is manifesting, it's explaining it for beginners, you might want to check that out. It's also on our YouTube channel here. But so my definition of manifesting is based on research and science. Manifesting is preparing your mind, body, and spirit to help you get what you want. Basically, what you're doing is you are using manifesting to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of you doing the work to get what you want. Manifesting done right removes self-doubt, it removes fear, it removes the excuses and the stories that would normally stop you, because when you do manifesting properly, you literally make your mind, body, and spirit believe that it's a foregone conclusion. And that makes you motivated, inspired to take the actions that will get you what you want. So now that you are grounded in the real definition of manifesting, let's flag the 7 major mistakes that people make so you can avoid them. Mistake number 1 when it comes to manifesting is you're not doing it daily. The lack of consistency is what's killing your ability to use manifesting to achieve your goals and dreams. So what do I mean by that? Well, manifesting is a skill. I want you to think of manifesting as a muscle. It's a muscle that you build through consistency. And, if you think about it as a skill or a muscle or a new habit, obviously you got to incorporate it into your day-to-day life. It's just like anything else. A one-off change does not make a lasting change. If you wanted to get healthier, eating one salad is not going to make you healthier. Exercising once, not going to make you healthier. Manifesting once, not going to actually help you get what you want. You must incorporate manifesting into your day-to-day life. The more consistently you do it, the more manifesting becomes a habit, it becomes a way of thinking, it becomes a way of acting, and it becomes a skill that you can rely on to help you get absolutely anything. Now, what's the easiest way to manifest consistently and make it part of your day-to-day life? I'm glad you asked. The best way to do it is make it part of your morning routine. Every single morning, right after I get up, make my bed, throw on my exercise clothes, set an intention, high five the mirror, I do something really interesting. I call it dreaming in the morning. I write down 5 things that I want. And the reason why I write down 5 things that I want is because it is a way to train my mind to focus on the things that I desire and dream about, to aim my mind at the things that I want in my life. Then what I do is I use manifesting properly to see myself taking the actions to get one of the things, to feel myself taking the actions to get one of those things. And notice, I'm closing my eyes. And that's because manifesting is a habit in my life. I close my eyes to really feel myself taking the actions. And when you manifest over and over and over again, your mind, in visualizing and feeling yourself taking those actions, begins to believe that it's happening. And that will make you confident, optimistic. It'll inspire you to take action. It will remove obstacles. It'll make it easier for you to do the work. Now, that's how you do it. That's how I've made it part of my day-to-day life. I write down 5 things. I then manifest on at least one of those things. And then here's the most important part. I then take an action that's inspired by the manifesting. Now, to help you incorporate this into your day-to-day life, I got something to give you. And don't worry, you don't need to buy anything. I have written and created the High Five Journal. It goes with my best-selling book, The High Five Habit. It's not only gorgeous, and you're going to love it, but the prompts in the journal, it's a daily journaling practice that you use. Write down 5 things that you want, big or small, today or in your lifetime. Now describe the small action you can take to inch yourself forward. Now close your eyes. Visualize taking these small actions. Feel deeply what it feels like to do these things as you move closer to what you desire. This is training your mind, body, and spirit to help you take these actions. This is a journal based on research and science that helps you make manifesting a skill that you practice every day. You want to get consistent? Start using the High Five Journal. Now, you can grab a copy of one of these things if you want it, but I still got you covered because I know there are parts of the world where you can't buy this yet. I also know that you might not have the money to be able to buy it. That's cool. If you go to highfivejournal.com, you can download free templates. Don't even need to buy the journal. If you want one, get one. But you can utilize the free templates at highfivejournal.com. You can read about the science. That will help you get started with making manifesting consistent, which will help build manifesting as a muscle and a skill that you rely on every single day of your life to help you get what you want. Cool, right? Good. Now let's move on to mistake number 2. Now, mistake number 2 is a major mistake that people make, and that is that you frame manifesting based on what you don't want. Now, this is subtle, but it's really important that you avoid this mistake. So this is the kind of mistake that you make when you're really frustrated and you start to go, I just don't want to be alone anymore. I just don't want to date losers anymore. I just don't want to be struggling anymore. I just don't want life to be so hard anymore. I just don't want to be single anymore. I just don't want to be poor anymore. I just don't want to have anxiety and feel so bad anymore. Do you see how framing all your dreams and goals around what you don't want might be a problem? I mean, when I say, I don't want to feel anxious anymore, how the hell am I going to visualize not being anxious? That's why this is a major mistake. You want to always frame what you want and what you're going to use manifesting to help you take the actions to go get it. You always want to frame it in the positive. Frame it around the thing that you want. So in the case of anxiety, don't talk about not feeling anxious. Frame what you want. I can't wait to have a calm, quiet, confident state of mind. That feels different, doesn't it? I can't wait to be in a loving, supportive, caring, mutual, positive relationship with an adult, somebody that acts like an adult and treats me the way I deserve to be treated. Feels very different than, I just don't want to date losers anymore. You want to always frame the things that you're trying to manifest and the actions that you need to take as leading you towards something rather than away from something. That way, we stop thinking and aligning energy around the negative crap that's not working, and we align your mind, body, and spirit around what it feels like to have the positive things that you want. That's going to make it easier for you to take the actions that will make them happen. Now, mistake number 3, super easy to make. You get really impatient. You start off strong, right? This is true with all changes. You start off strong, you manifest every morning for 3 or 4 days, and then boom. You don't do it for 5 or 6 weeks. You start throwing your hands. That's it, it's never going to happen. So you're not only not consistent, but you start to get impatient. And because you're impatient, you're not consistent. I need you to understand something. For manifesting to work properly, based on research, there is no timeline involved. Did you hear me? For manifesting to work properly, based on the research, there is no timeline involved. You must give up the when, and you must focus on seeing and feeling yourself taking the steps that make the thing that you want happen. Because manifesting is not magically making something appear. Manifesting is preparing your mind, body, and spirit to do the work to make something happen. It's aligning your thoughts, your actions, and how you feel in your body with the thing that you want. And the reason why manifesting is important is because when you prepare yourself to do the work and to start to see and feel it, you will believe that it's a foregone conclusion. You will believe that at some point it will happen. And you will believe that you can make it happen. And that belief is why you feel inspired and encouraged to take action. You see, when you suspend the timeline and you get rid of deadlines, there is no room for being impatient. because you in your heart and your soul and in your mind know that at some point, if you just keep on manifesting and you keep on seeing yourself and feeling yourself doing the steps that you need in order to make this a reality, eventually it'll happen. So if you feel impatient, you're doing it wrong, because you're not supposed to attach a timeline to it. You're supposed to wake up every morning and write down 5 things that you want and let yourself see and feel yourself doing the work, and that will inspire you to take the actions that lead you there. And if you do that every day, trust me, you won't even be thinking about the timeline, because you know in your heart and soul, eventually this is going to turn out. Now, mistake number 4, and this is probably the biggest mistake that everybody makes. And if you've been manifesting for a long time and nothing's turning out, this is probably the mistake that you're making. If you're brand new to manifesting, this is the mistake everybody that's new makes, unless somebody tells them not to do this. The biggest mistake with manifesting is that you're only looking at the end goal. That's the biggest mistake everybody makes. We've all been sold this bill of goods, not only that if you think good things, somehow it's going to happen. That's only true that you can think good things and have good things happen if you do the work to make those good things happen. The thinking's just the first part. You got to actually take the actions that are inspired by the thinking. And the second thing that people do in terms of being sold a bill of goods is that you kind of have been led to believe that if you create a vision board and you plaster up on the vision board images of beach houses and Lamborghinis and NFTs and millions of dollars in the bank and the world's skinniest body and all the things that you would love to have magically appear in your life, that simply creating the vision is enough. The reason why that's a mistake is because research shows that simply envisioning the end goal without actually imagining all the steps that lead you there, and without training your body to feel what it's going to feel like to do the hard work, simply imagining the end goal isn't motivating at all. It's pretty inspiring for about a day, but then what happens is that you start to stare at the beach house and the $1 million in the bank, and you will feel discouraged because you'll realize, holy cow, from where I sit, there's an impossible gap between my studio apartment or living in my parents' basement and the beach house that I want. There's an impossible gap between the fact that my divorce basically left me bankrupt and now I'm staring at a vision board with $1 million in the bank. Holy cow. I've got 150 pounds to lose, and I'm going to stare at my photo from when I was my, best weight, when I was a high school Division I athlete? No, staring at the end goal is not only a mistake, it's profoundly discouraging. It's the reason why so many people fail to reach their goals, because they only set their goals and they never do the part that's the most important, and that's where manifesting comes in. Manifesting helps you do the work. Manifesting done properly is preparing you to do all the things between where you are and where you want to get to. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that up on your vision board, okay? Up on your vision board is the fact that you want to launch your own business. Right now, you work for somebody else, you can't stand what you do, you have panic attacks when you wake up because you know that you're headed in the wrong direction, you've always dreamt of opening a bakery, and so you slap up a vision board and you've got this big visual up on your wall that you stare at every morning of this beautiful bakery that you've always dreamt of starting. Here's the problem. You have no money, you have no savings, you've never started a business before. How the hell are you going to get this done? Staring at the vision board gives you panic attacks. Here's how manifesting is going to help. Manifesting is where instead of staring at the photos of the bakery, you see, feel, and eventually start to believe that you can do the work to make it a reality. And so what you're going to manifest is you're going to manifest all the steps from point A, which is starting at 0, all the way to point Z, which is opening the doors. You're going to see yourself. And notice I'm closing my eyes. This is because manifesting is a habit. Manifesting happens here in your mind and in your heart and your body. I want you to see yourself. Instead of going out tonight with your friends, see yourself staying in and watching videos. Videos on YouTube of other people that have opened bakeries. See yourself going to the library and getting a book that tells the story of somebody who did it. See yourself taking webinars and tutorials about how to raise the money to do something like this. See yourself studying Kickstarter campaigns of other people who have launched a bakery and raised money through Kickstarter campaigns. See yourself talking to people who have done this. See yourself talking to friends and family. See yourself taking a class in it. See yourself staying in next weekend and working on this. See yourself getting a part-time job in a bakery and learning behind the scenes because you've always dreamt of doing this, but you've never worked in one. And one vision at a time, as you feel yourself being tired, as you feel the late nights, as you feel yourself doing the work with no timeline, you'll start to believe that you're going to do it. And that will keep you inspired to take those little actions to do it. And that way, when you come in after a long day and you've spent the day watching a webinar or watching a YouTube video, or you had a conversation with somebody that gave you some advice, when you walk into your room and you see that beautiful vision board, you know what's going to happen? Your mind and your body and spirit will literally start to buzz because what you've been rehearsing in your mind, body, and spirit through visualization aligns with it. That's how you do it. Simply envisioning the end game, that's a one-way ticket to being discouraged, unmotivated, and stuck. You start to use manifesting properly. You start to visualize every single step of the way, and you will be training for it and doing the work to make it happen, and that is motivating. Mistake number 5 is thinking you have to have all the answers, and that'll get you really stuck. That what you really want to manifest into your life is an incredible relationship, right? But you don't even know where to begin because your dating history looks like a train wreck. Here's the simple solution. Just become a student. Become a student of whatever it is that you want. What does a student do? A student learns, a student studies, a student researches. Researching, studying, and learning about what you want is a simple way to find all of the things that you can start manifesting. Seriously. Anything that a student would be doing. Taking a class, researching, talking about a subject, interviewing people about a subject, watching videos about a subject. All of those things that a student does are things that I want you to visualize, see yourself, and feel yourself doing. That's a simple hack to figuring out the path between where you are and where you want to go. Another thing that a student does is a student studies people who have already done it. And then you reverse engineer the path. And you see yourself doing the things that somebody else did to get what you want. Now here's what's super cool. Remember, manifesting based on science means training your mind, body, and spirit to do the work that gets you what you want. Your path will not be the same as somebody else's. That's okay. You can still see yourself walking down somebody else's path. You can still feel what it feels like to do that hard work because manifesting works because it's going to remove the obstacles that you create, your excuses, your self-doubt, all of the stories you tell yourself, your fear, your imposter syndrome. You're rehearsing the steps in your mind because remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between you actually taking the steps or you just visualizing yourself taking the steps. When you visualize yourself taking the steps, you are training your mind, body, and spirit to not resist taking those actions. That's why this is going to work for you. Even though, let's say you love The Rock's career. You're not going to have the same career as The Rock, but you can certainly visualize all the things that he did in order to train yourself to do the work that will get you what you want. Now, mistake number 6 is going to be obvious based on mistake number 4 and number 5. You're not taking any actions. Look, you can't just feel it in your body. You can't just see it in your mind. The whole reason why you're rehearsing this and training your body to do the steps is so you freaking take the steps, okay? At some point, you got to leave your brain and your body, and you got to take action in the world. You got to let the manifesting, the training and preparing that you're doing by seeing it and feeling it and teaching you to believe that it's possible, you got to let that shit inspire you to take action. Now, I want to give you a tool. Remember in the beginning, I showed you the High 5 Daily Journal. I also told you you can get free templates at high5journal.com. Now, this thing's gorgeous. I love it. The templates I don't think are color, so that's one thing, but they are free. But if you pick up a copy of this or you use the templates, this journal is prompting you every day to take action. This journal is going to prompt you to write down 5 things that you want. This is going to get you to start giving yourself permission to have what you want in your life. Then this journal is going to prompt you to think like a student. What are some steps that you can take in order to move toward what you want? It's going to get you thinking about things to do so that you are taking action. Then it's going to prompt you to properly manifest doing those things, and then it's going to tell you to do it. And so if you really want a kick in the pants, or if you want to have your hand held, or you want a tool because you are committed to making manifesting a skill that is part of your day-to-day life, this journal, the High 5 Journal, is the only journal based in science that will train you and your mind, body, and spirit to make manifesting part of your morning routine and a skill that you master and put to use in your life every single day. And again, you can get those templates at high5journal.com, and you can get a copy of this anywhere online. Just Google it. The final mistake is also a really big one. And that mistake is you're not celebrating the small wins. So as you make manifesting a skill, as you get consistent about it, as you start to be a student, as you take inspired action, as you realize that you do feel like this is going to happen. You don't even have a timeline on it because you know it's going to happen. You're not, as you're doing these things, recognizing all the small wins that you have. Every day when you manifest and then you take the action that the manifesting has inspired, that's a win. When you see doors opening up because you've been moving toward what you want, that's a win. When you randomly meet somebody that introduces you to somebody that helps you get one step closer, that's a win. And you need to celebrate that stuff. These are signs. These are not coincidences. These are signs that you're on the right path. A lot of people believe in angel signs, like seeing the number 11 or 22 or the number 9, or for me, the number 5. Angel signs are cool because for me, angel signs are a mile marker that give you a clue that you're moving in the right direction. Your job is to declare what you want. Your job is to use manifesting to train your mind, body, and spirit and remove the obstacles that you would normally put in place. Your job is to take the actions that are inspired by manifesting and start moving toward what you want. You also, though, need to call out those mile markers when you see it. Holy shit! I just got introduced to somebody in the movie business, and it's my dream, and I'm manifesting that I have my script turned into a movie. This is a sign that I'm on the right path. And what you want to do is call those things out, not because the universe or magic or this is somehow just randomly happening. This is you being rewarded for manifesting properly, for believing in yourself, and for taking the inspired action that is going to make your dreams a reality. And these little moments, these signs, these small wins that are happening every day as you make manifesting a consistent skill that you practice in the morning, that you put to use so that you are aligned with what you want, so that your mind, body, and spirit is working with you instead of against you. When you start to also call out the small wins, there I am manifesting. There, this thing happened. This is happening too. There are my angel numbers. Holy cow, this just happened. You're now building momentum. You're now energetically rewarding your body for aligning with what you want. And it just makes all of this that much stronger. It makes your belief stronger. It makes your courage bigger. It makes your confidence stronger. That's how all of this builds one on the other. And if you're not willing to call out the small wins, you're missing a huge amount of mojo and rocket fuel and magic that you can add into the mix, because all of these small wins are literally reasons for you to be more confident, reasons for you to keep going, reasons for you to really know in your mind, body, and spirit that, yeah, this is going to happen because you're making it happen. I'm going to teach you the 4 simple steps that you need to follow in order to manifest the right way according to research and science. I'm so glad you're watching this. Manifesting is an incredible skill to develop in your life and to practice and build consistently as something that you do. My definition of manifesting is manifesting when you do it following the 4 steps you're about to learn according to research and science. What manifesting does is it trains your mind, your body, your spirit to align with what you want to achieve in life. Manifesting is a way to prepare or socialize your mind and your nervous system and your body to do the work that's necessary to getting what you want. And so the steps that I'm going to walk you through work, they're based in research, and what they're doing is they remove all of the obstacles that would normally stop you from taking action. Because just thinking about what you want isn't going to get it done. What ultimately creates results in your life are actions. And so manifesting is a way to train yourself to take the actions that will change your life, that will help you get what you want. Manifesting also removes self-doubt, resistance, excuses, imposter syndrome, all the things that would normally stop you from taking the actions. The 4 steps that you need to follow, really simple. Step number 1 is give yourself permission to dream with the lid off. This is really important. And the reason why this is important is because I guarantee you that right now you are not even allowing yourself to fully dream or think about or set goals that are truly aligned with what you deeply want in your heart. That you aren't even able to manifest properly because you're not even honest with yourself about what you actually want. This is a really common thing because you're allowing your self-doubt, you are allowing your fears, your anxiety, your insecurity, you're allowing where you are to dictate and limit where you want to go. And so step 1, super important. You must allow yourself, give yourself permission to start dreaming with the lid off. Now, the scientific reason why this is so important is because you have a filter in your brain called the reticular activity system. I write about the RAS for short, the reticular activity system, extensively in the High 5 Habit. The RAS is a filter in your mind, and you can do simple things that change the structure of that filter. In fact, the filter in your mind, the RAS, is always changing. So one thing that you can do in order to teach yourself how to dream with the lid off is to adopt a simple habit. Every single morning, I do a very simple thing. I write down 5 things that I want. That's it. When I start my day, after I get up when the alarm rings, I make my bed, I pull on my exercise clothes, I set an intention, I high-five myself in the mirror, I then go out into the kitchen, I crack open my high-five journal, and then inside the journal there are prompts that walk me through the steps of visualizing. And the first prompt is dream with the lid off. Set your spirit free. Write down 5 things every morning that you want. And this is important because when you get what you want out of your head and you physically put them on a piece of paper, research shows that you're 42% more likely to achieve those goals simply by writing them down. That's pretty cool. Secondly, your mind is paying attention. And when you take deliberate action and you write down what you want, you are signaling to your brain that you deserve to have these things. You're signaling to your brain that you do want those things. You're not just going to think about them. These are things that matter to you. And that helps train your mind to allow you to let the desires flow through you. Because right now, you're not manifesting properly because you're not even allowing yourself to dream with the lid off. So that's step number 1. You're going to start writing down 5 things that you want every single morning as a way to train your mind to let you dream freely. So a couple things about this little practice of writing down 5 things that you want every morning as a way to train your mind to allow you to dream again. First of all, you can write down the same 5 things every day. It's your list, your dreams. You get to do this how you want. The second thing that you could do is you could just write down different things every day. It doesn't matter because really what manifesting is manifesting is a way to train and prepare your mind, body, and spirit to help you. And if your mind is blocking you and your mind won't even allow you to fully want the things that you want, like, for example, maybe you want to be a New York Times bestselling author, but you won't even write that down because you don't think it's possible. If you won't even write it down because your self-doubt is stopping you, you're not dreaming with the lid off. And so this simple exercise, write down, I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. I want a house by the beach. I want to take my family to Disney World. I'd love to meet the love of my life. I'd like to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I want to open a wine bar. I'd love to get in the best shape of my life. I'd like to do a handstand this year in yoga. I'd like my dog to start barking at the neighbors. Whatever you want, it doesn't matter. You're just training yourself to dream. And that's step 1. Allow yourself to want what you want. Step number 2 for manifesting properly according to science is you must visualize the steps that lead you to the thing that you want, not the end goal. This is a major mistake that people make. They manifest improperly because all they do is focus on the end goal. If you've ever made a vision board, think about what you put on the vision board. You put up just the beach house or the $1 million in the bank, or you crossing the finish line, or you launching that business, or you having the body that you want, or you driving the Maserati, whatever it is. The end goal is what you put up on a vision board. That is not what you're going to do when you manifest. If you start focusing on crossing the finish line of the marathon, that is a one-way ticket to being unmotivated and completely discouraged. In fact, research shows that if all you do is focus on the thing that you want and you just focus on that vision of you and your bikini body, or you with the love of your life on your arms, or you at the Oscars winning that award or the Grammys, what happens is because you've only focused on the end goal, you start to feel really unmotivated and discouraged because you're nowhere near it. That's where manifesting comes in, because we're not going to focus on the end goal. You got to pick something that you want in order to get started. But manifesting isn't about the end. It's about the bridge. It's about going from where you are here to where you want to go. Imagine that there is a bridge that connects where you are right here with what you dream about doing. Now, that dream could be to be a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter. That dream might be to have a family of your own. That dream might be to have a beach house or a ski house, or to take a trip to Fiji. That dream can be whatever the hell you want it to be. But when it comes to manifesting, once you've given yourself permission to dream with the lid off and really want what you want, to feel the pull of that thing, now we got to talk about the path that connects where you are with where you want to go. And this is all about visualizing the little steps. There's a lot of research that proves why visualizing the steps is the most important thing that you could do. There was a study done at UCLA, for example, where they were researching manifestation and the power of visualization, and they broke students into two groups. And they had Group A, we're going to call these the vision board group. They had Group A close their eyes, visualize in their mind, and feel in their body themselves taking the test and then walking up to a board where the test's scores were posted and finding their name and seeing an A+. That's what Group A, the vision board group, were told to do, to visualize themselves achieving what they wanted. Group B, we're going to call these the hard workers. These students were coached in this research project to close their eyes and to visualize going back to their dorm room, sitting down at the desk, and studying, and staying up late, and putting in the work, studying and preparing for the tests. Now let me ask you a question. Which group do you think did better on the actual test? Was it Group A, the vision board group, who were taught to visualize and picture themselves walking up to a board and seeing the A+? Or was it Group B, the hard work group, the group that was taught to close their eyes and visualize and seeing themselves doing the work to study for the test? Well, if you answered Group A, you're wrong. If you answered Group B, you got the correct answer. The reason why Group B, the students who visualized studying for the test, got better test scores, is because when you visualize yourself doing the work, visualizing it leads you to doing the work. And it's only through actions that you will get the result that you want. Preparing your mind and visualizing yourself doing it lowers your resistance and leads to you taking the action. That's why manifesting works. You know, the same is true in sports. There's all kinds of research in sports psychology. In fact, our Olympic athletes for the U.S. Olympic team, they hire sports psychologists to train our top Olympic athletes, particularly after they've been injured, in visualizing themselves competing. When you coach an athlete to mentally rehearse every single detail about going through the competition, you are training the mind, body, and spirit to show up and dominate. This is particularly true for athletes after they've been injured and they're stepping back into competition. If you've been injured in competition, you're naturally going to feel anxious. You're naturally going to be nervous. Your brain and nervous system circuitry is now programmed with the intensity from that injury, the memory from the injury. So of course it's natural to bring that into your pre-competition feelings about it, right? So manifestation properly, remember what it is? Manifesting is preparing your mind, body, and spirit to do the work. It's aligning your mind, body, and spirit with what you want. It removes the obstacles that would normally stop you, which then prepares and motivates you to take the actions to succeed. So in the case of athletes who visualize themselves and see themselves doing all the steps over and over, they're removing the nerves. They're removing all the programming related to the injury. They are preparing their mind, body, and spirit to go in and frickin' dominate. And so are you, because that's step 2. You gotta see it. The third step is you're gonna feel in your body what it feels like to do the work. So let's go back to the research project at UCLA. Not only do I want you to close your eyes and picture yourself going back to the dorm room. Notice I'm closing my eyes. It's because manifesting is a habit for me. And when I manifest, I get in it, man. I close my eyes. I go into my mind. I am literally in my imagination there. And I not only can see myself doing the work, I can feel it. You can feel what it's like to walk into that dorm. You can feel what it's like to sit down. You can feel the heavy backpack hit the table. You can feel yourself crack open that book. You can feel yourself sitting at that desk and the desk light. And you can also even feel what it's like, can't you? As the sun starts to set and it gets darker outside and the light on your desk starts to get brighter and take things over, you can just put yourself right there. And the feeling is super important because, again, manifesting is mind, body, spirit. We got to get your nervous system involved. We've got to make you feel like you're at the scene. One of the reasons why feeling it is so important is because it magnifies the imagery in your mind. And when your mind rehearses something, here's what's cool about your brain. Your brain doesn't know the difference between you studying for that test or you doing the work to start that business or get healthy or put yourself back out there or heal your trauma or save the money to get that house that you want or whatever it is that you're visualizing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between you visualizing those things and you actually doing them. In your mind, it's the same. So it's almost like a training run for a marathon. You are building a muscle that helps you win when you take the actions. It's so cool. And so you not only want to feel what it's like to study for that test, put yourself at the scene. You also want to feel a sense of pride that you're doing the work. And the pride piece is really important because the pride piece acts almost like a booster. It amplifies the memory imprint. When you bring this, wow, there I am, I'm doing the work, I'm proud of myself, I'm staying in, I'm putting in the extra work. Somebody said no and I kept on going. I didn't stop when the first venture capital firm said they wouldn't invest. There I am investing again. When you feel this sense of pride in yourself, it supersizes the imprint and the rehearsing. And so it's a super important part of the feeling. Not only feel the steps, feel the pride that you're doing it. This is so important that I want to give you yet another example. Let's say that your bucket list, something on your bucket list is to run a marathon. For me, it was on my bucket list when I was a young mom to run the New York City Marathon. Now, what's interesting is I applied, I got a number, and when I won this number out of a lottery system with the New York City Marathon, I was a brand new mom. I was totally out of shape. I was not at all in any kind of a place to run the New York City Marathon. Now, here's the thing. I used visualization to help me lower my fear and my excuses. Because when I got the number, I did not have a lot of time. If I had been a person who was not visualizing, I probably would have said, I don't have enough time to train, I'm not ready, I can't do this. All the excuses would have come in. But instead, I used visualization. Now, how do you use visualization for, say, a marathon? You do not want to visualize crossing the finish line. That is how you visualize incorrectly. Luckily, I knew how to visualize at this moment in my life. You need to visualize yourself going from 0 to preparing to run that race. So what does that mean? That means you need to visualize, oh, there I am. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I don't feel like getting up, but I'm getting up and I'm putting on my sneakers and it's dark out and I don't feel like going for a run, but there I am going out the door alone in the cold. Wow, I am going for, I'm pretty proud of myself because I'm training. Oh, here's another thing you could visualize. I'm on a training run, it's mile 7 and it starts to rain and I keep going. Wow, I'm wet and I'm still running. I'm proud of myself because I'm out there training. It's mile 11 and my earbuds just lost battery. I don't have any more music. I got 5 more miles to go. I'm out here for almost another hour. And I continue going. And I continue going. And I see myself completing that 16-mile training run. And I allow myself to not only feel what it feels like to push through that moment when those earbuds run out of battery, but I also feel proud of myself for pushing through. That's how you prepare yourself for the thing that you need to do, because it removes the obstacles that would stop you from pushing through at mile 11 when your earbuds run out, because you've already rehearsed the moment in your mind. And then finally, step 4, and this is where a lot of people, not naming names, but this one is really important. You need to do the work, okay? You got to do the work. because it's only through your actions that you will accomplish what you want. Let's say that you've always wanted to climb a particular mountain, okay? There's a mountain called Haystack. It's not even that tall, so I should probably pick a bigger one, but let's just call it Haystack Mountain. You've always wanted to climb Haystack Mountain. You pull up to Haystack Mountain, and you get out of the car, you park at the, National Forest parking lot, and you make the mistake of looking up at the mountain, which is the end goal, right? And you notice it's up in the clouds. And then you start to think, oh my God, that's a really far way away. I don't really know how I feel about doing this anymore because that looks like it's going to take a really long time. And then all of a sudden it starts to rain. And you go, I don't think I want to do this because I don't think I feel like doing this. And next thing you know, you are back in the car, driving back down the road to that little diner that you saw. And instead of climbing the mountain that you've always dreamt of climbing, you've now come up with an excuse and you have abandoned ship. You now have literally become your own obstacle. You talked yourself out of it. You started to doubt yourself. You told yourself you weren't ready and that you didn't feel like it. You pull the ripcord, you're out of there. In order to have what you want in life, you must stop staring at the top of that mountain. You must stop creating excuses for why you can't or don't feel like it. And you must put your head down and look at the first step in front of you. And then you must take the action and start walking toward what you want. And it'll be a hell of a lot easier for you to do that if you have also been putting in the time every day consistently to not only see yourself walking up that trail step by step, but that you have felt yourself pushing through the resistance, the fear, the obstacles, the bullshit, the excuses that are stopping you now. And feel proud in every fiber of your being as you push through those obstacles and see yourself and feel yourself doing the work. That's how you manifest properly. And if you do that before you pull into the national park parking lot, if you look up at that mountain and you see clouds and it starts raining, it won't matter because you've already rehearsed this moment in your mind, body, and spirit. And you, my friend, will start walking up that trail. And you're going to be proud. That's how you use manifesting to get what you want. That's how you leverage all the science and research to train and prepare your mind, body, and spirit to help you get what you want. And that's how you hack the motivation and inspiration that you need to take the actions that get you everything that you want and deserve in life. Yeah, the Uber driver in Dallas that's in this book. I get choked up when I think about him. An aha moment.
Why choked up?
I get choked up because what happens for me every single day is, and you hear from people every single day, you've got millions and millions of people that are inspired by, empowered by, impacted by your content. There are people out there that use your work as a lifeline, and it is humbling. And what I am really present to in the work that I'm putting out, in the stuff that I'm sharing, whether it's my failures or the things that I'm using that are helping me in my own struggles, is just how much people are holding themselves back and how much pain people feel. Because most folks know what they dream about and what they want. And yet they're spending all of their time and energy arguing against what they want. And so you can have all these epiphanies. I hope that when somebody listens to our conversation and watches this, that they have a massive aha moment. But it's not going to mean fucking shit if you don't take action and do something about it. The aha moment is the door that opens. But your new life does not begin unless you fucking step through the door. And most people, and that's what was so kind of, the simple idea of high-fiving yourself, of encouraging yourself, of supporting yourself. Most people, when you have an aha moment and the door to your new life opens up, instead of going, I got this, let's go, and high-fiving yourself to step forward, most of us go, I don't know if I'm worth it. I don't know if right now is the right time to do this. I don't think I'm good enough. I've failed so many times I can't go through that door. And that's the problem I want to attack right now. That there is somewhere in your life that you know what you want. You can feel it pulling you. And you are actively arguing against it. You're bringing yourself down. You're beating yourself out. Like, people will cheer for you and me. They won't cheer for themselves. I'm the same way. And so this Uber driver, the story that you're talking about, I get into the car and we start driving, and I'm on the phone as we're driving, and I'm having a conversation with somebody about this daytime talk show that I launched, which was a dream with Sony Pictures Television, and then was promptly fired after season 1. It was a huge fucking failure because we didn't make it to season 2. Huge failure in real world terms. Right. Massive success when it comes to the timeline of my life. And so I'm talking to this person about the talk show. I hang up the phone and this Uber driver comes alive. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in my cab." And I'm like, "Why?" And he says, "Because I want to talk to you about something. I think you can help me." And I'm like, "Great, how can I help you?" And he says, "I have a dream of being a Oscar-winning actor and creating opportunities for other Black and Latino men to do the same in acting." And I'm like, "Freaking fantastic. What the fuck are you doing in Dallas?" Right? You know, the guy's 25. And so I go, the game is in New York and LA. I mean, sure, you can act, you can write stuff, you can be here in Dallas, but why are you not in LA? Why are you not in New York? And he's like, "You're right, you're right, you're right. I need to move to LA. I'm like, "Why not?" And he says, "I have $700 in my bank account." And I'm like, "That's freaking fantastic. You have $700 in a car? Dude, drop me off and get driving. What are you waiting for?" And so we have this whole conversation, and I write about it in this book, where I am actively arguing for his dream, and he is actively arguing against his dream. And what is so sad is throughout this conversation, Tom, he's like, "You're right. $700 could get me there. You're right. I am only 25. You're right. If I keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about what I want to be doing, I'm not only going to drive in circles, my whole life is going to spin in circles as I think about what I want and I don't do shit about it." And then you are going to find yourself not at 25, but at 45 or 65, and you're going to be so filled with regret that you never fucking put a bet on yourself. And so this conversation ends with him declaring that he's going to go to California and me giving him a bunch of tools that I talk about in this book. And the point of the story is, does he move or not? I don't fucking know. The point of the story is, it's so easy to see what somebody else should do. It's so easy to cheer for somebody else. We all do that, right? We cheer for our favorite sports teams. We follow our favorite influencers and authors. We plan birthday parties for our friends. We take on extra work from our colleagues. We support everyone around us. We do not know how to do it for ourselves.
What do you do if following your dreams means others have to make sacrifices? I'm the primary breadwinner in my family. I make 6 figures, and my dream would require me to take a new job that would be a massive pay cut. How do I get over the guilt?
So, what do you do when your dream impacts other members of your family? So this is a woman who is the breadwinner for her family. She makes 6 figures, and in order to pursue her dream, she will be accepting a job with a pay cut. At the end of the day, your family wants one thing for you. They want you to be happy. And if you were to sit down and work out on paper what it means and what it doesn't mean for you to take a pay cut, you can then sit down with your family and explain that this is something that you're asking for their support in doing, because in giving you their support, which may mean we're not going to go on vacation this year. It may mean that you're going to have to get a babysitting job if you want to do club sports, because you're going to help pay for it, which, by the way, is a wonderful thing for your kids to do. By you talking to your family about why it is that you are so drawn and called forth to pursue this dream, and asking for their support, you will get a level of buy-in that removes the guilt. We are currently grappling with a big change in our family right now because our son wants to go to high school in Vermont. Now, I work in New York and I have a business in Boston. And this is not a boarding school. It happens to be a school in a town that we've been going to for years and years and years because Chris's family lives up there. But it would mean a major change in where we live. And so our son is doing this with us right now. He's sitting down and saying, this is something that really matters to me. This is a dream of mine. How could we make it work? And it's been a lot of up and down and roller coaster emotional conversations of what it would look like to make a massive change for the next 48 months and the sacrifices that I would need to make and that Chris would need to make and how that would impact our family. And so that is the way that you make a decision. And by the way, we're not decided yet on what we're doing. We're going through the roller coaster, but by God, I am impressed by my son, who's 14 years old, who is advocating for his dream. And when somebody that you love advocates for their dream, the guilt transfers a little bit, because when you love somebody, what do you want for them? You want them to be happy. And you feel guilty not doing what it takes if what it takes is reasonable and doable and manageable. You're the one that feels guilty for not supporting the people in your life. So I think you work it out on paper. You really understand what that sacrifice means. You really understand what you're asking. And then you start holding family meetings and you do a lot of listening and you do a lot of problem solving. And I bet that this is going to be a lot easier decision than you think. All right. How about another one?
From Daniel on our community text platform.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in cases where your two dreams seem to contradict each other? For instance, I want to write a best-selling book and start my own business, but I feel like unless I give all of my time to one of them, I won't be putting full effort into either. I also fear that if I devote all my time to one dream, and if it turns out it's not for me, I'll regret having focused on the other one.
Gotcha. So we've got Daniel on our texting platform, and the texting platform, if you want to join that for free, is 617-284-0725. What do I do if I have two dreams and they seem to contradict one another? Well, interestingly, in week 2 of our program, which begins on Monday, you're going to have the weekend off to catch up, to enjoy the Facebook group, to really reflect on the materials and the things that you've learned in week 1 of Best Decade Ever, where we've talked about dreaming bigger and why it's so important and how hard it is, and your limiting beliefs. Week 2 is about how we pick a dream and we use it as a theme to anchor you this year and call you forward. I personally don't believe that there are dreams that are at odds with each other. I believe that there are dreams that happen on different timelines. And so you're correct that if you were to put all kinds of energy into both things at the same time, it would have a detrimental effect on both of those things. And so what you need to do, in my opinion, is pick the primary dream that you're going to focus the majority of your efforts on this year in terms of moving it down the field. You don't have to achieve it this year. You're just going to pick this as the thing that you're going to move down the field. And then pick a secondary thing that you're working on that continues to allow you to grow. So for example, I can tell you personally that a business that you want to build takes way more time than writing a book. And so if you're really called forward and you have a dream to launch this business in this decade, I would make that the primary thing that you're exploring this year. That said, something like a book can be advanced through a small daily practice. I was sharing earlier in the live stream before it cut out, so I'm going to say it again. I've recently discovered a website that I love. It's free, which you know is one of the criterias that I love. I'm going to write it down because it's odd to say. It's 750words.com. So for those of you that want to write a book, 750words.com, something I've just started using. And I click the link, I go to my private account, and then I just start typing. And what are you doing? You're typing 750 words every time you log on. And I'm trying to do it 5 days a week because I want to build the skill of writing every day. Why? Well, because I want to write an international best-selling phenomenon in the personal development space called The 5 Decisions. Oh, and right behind that is the 5-second diet book, because we are already testing the 5-second diet and seeing insane results with people, because the 5-second diet isn't about what you eat. It's about how you think about yourself and food and your self-worth. And those changes are made 5 seconds at a time. But so there are things there are dreams that require that you should make primary. Pick one. That's launching your business. And then there are dreams that you can inch forward every day, like writing a book and working on developing the skills. So I don't think dreams are ever at odds. I just think dreams occur at different speeds and different timelines. And it's up to you to figure out which one is going to take the primary role in 2020 and which one is going to happen on a longer timeline. It's impossible to not have dreams. See, that's not how dreams work. Let me tell you something about dreams. I believe that you were born with dreams that are preset inside of you, and that those dreams are deeply personal to you, that your dreams are your birthright, and that part of the adventure that life is really, it's like a giant scavenger hunt that's been created for you, where life is giving you all kinds of clues that help you feel the pull of your dreams. And so I'm going to unpack this for you, okay? Because your dreams haven't gone anywhere. You may not, quote, know what your dreams are, but they are inside of you. They are in the back of your mind. You are just so blocked right now that you cannot feel the pull of your dreams trying to draw you toward them. But it's still happening. So I'm going to teach you something today that is going to change your life, because you don't have a choice about this. Those dreams, they're for you. They were been in there since you were born. They're meant for you. They're personal to you. And I can explain this piece about why they're personal to you. So I have a dream of creating like a weekend-long transformational event where literally we fill a stadium. And the energy and the teaching and the things that happen during this weekend retreat, that they are transformational for 10,000 people. That's my dream, okay? When I share that dream with my dad would rather stick a needle in his eye than think about standing on a stage in front of 10,000 people at an event he created. Because that dream is not meant for him. That dream is personal for me. And so when I see other people out there creating events and filling stadiums, I feel deeply jealous, because there's something about what somebody else is doing that reminds me of this dream that I have, this dream that I maybe feel a little blocked on, this dream that maybe I gave up on. Now let me talk about my dad. My dad casually mentioned a couple of years ago that he had always dreamt of hiking the Appalachian Trail from one end to the other. That takes like 6 to 8 months. I can't think of anything worse than hiking the Appalachian Trail from end to end with wet socks and wet underwear and pasty teeth and sleeping in a lean-to and eating out of a can and a can. This sounds like a nightmare. Why? That's not my dream. It's not meant for me. And so your dreams, I'm telling you, they're still in there, whether you can feel them or not. So that's number one. You got to accept the fact that you were born with dreams that are meant for you, and your job is to get unblocked so that you can feel the pull. The fastest way to get unblocked is to follow your jealousy. Now, that may sound like the most screwed up advice from somebody that is trying to help you improve your life, but trust me, jealousy is a super important signal because jealousy is just blocked inspiration. That's all that it is. You see, you've convinced yourself that your dream isn't possible for you. You've convinced yourself you're not worthy of it. You've convinced yourself you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too this, or you're too that, or you're not good enough or smart enough, or whatever the hell it is. You've convinced yourself that your dream that was meant for you, that you were born with, that's personal to you, that it's not possible. But you still feel jealous of other people. That tells me that your dream is in the back of your mind and jealousy is your inspiration, only it's blocked by your self-doubt. And so look around and see, who are you jealous of and why? Because there's something in that negative feeling that's an important signal for you. That jealousy is trying to wake your up and make you pay attention, that there's something that somebody else is doing. It could be the relationships that they have. It could be their health. It could be the discipline they have in their life. It could be what they do for a living. It could be their lifestyle. There's something about what that person is doing that's meant for you. Now, you're going to do it your own way, but your problem right now is that you're blocking yourself from even pursuing it. So, rule number 1, your dreams never leave you. So accept that as a fact. They've been in there. You're just blocked. Rule number 2, to awaken yourself, look around and notice who you're jealous of and allow yourself to start to follow that jealousy, be pulled toward it, unpack what you're learning about why you're drawn toward what these other people are doing, and start pursuing it and making it your own. That is how you get unstuck. That is how you start to find your dreams. That is how you let the pull of that blocked inspiration that feels like jealousy pull you toward what is meant for you. Those dreams have not left you. You are blocked, and you can change it. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.